You are watching William Patterson University Television.
In 2007, BioWare released its newest space adventure IP, Mass Effect. The company that became famous with games like Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic now is attempting to create their own original space drama. Michele has come in with me today to talk about the Mass Effect series that she loves so much and why it's important to her. So I just want to start off with the top. You're wearing an N7 shirt. For those who do not know Mass Effect, what is kind of the base storyline, like the most condensed way you can describe what it is?
Oh, Jesus. So you're pretty much playing as Commander Shepard. You're a Marine op that goes to pretty much save the universe, the galaxy. So just to go a little bit more into Commander Shepard, she or he, you get to choose whether you want to play as Bro Shep or Fem Shep, kind of gets thrown into this mission due to semantics and stuff like that. And so the reason I love Commander Shepard, and I think that it's just like he or she is the best protagonist there is because he and she is just such a badass. Especially when you're looking at Fem Shep, I absolutely adore her because she's what every female video game character should be. She's not over-sexualized. She doesn't need any men to help her. She's a badass no matter what. She doesn't take anybody's orders but her own. And I think that BioWare did a really great job in setting her up for that. The other characters, you have the squad members, like Garrus, he's my space boyfriend, so I love him. You got Tali, you got Morden. All these characters are just so awesome because they have real emotions and real feelings that you don't really get from many other squad members in different video games. In other video games, they're so linear, while in Mass Effect, you get the choice of whether you want to kill them or become their best friend or go on with them romantically. And the game does such a good job of building backstories to make them such great characters that you can relate to. And by the third game, if you played every single game, they seriously feel like you're friends, where in some cases, spoiler alert, even though the game is like 10 years old, you have to unfortunately sacrifice a few of your squad mates, like Morden. And I remember I loved him so much in Mass Effect 2 because he was just so quirky and so smart. And then in the third game, you unfortunately have this horrific choice of either you have to kill him or you have to save an entire race of aliens. And for me personally, I ended up killing him. And I remember just watching that mission of him go up into the tower and just sitting there and having to turn off my game because I was just devastated. And I feel like no other game has ever done that before.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep it there with the characters. You briefly talked about how important like the individuality of it all is. Is it one of these games like BioWare makes all the time, where like every single experience, every single playthrough, whether you're the same person or a different person, is completely different, and that's what makes it so special? I mean, if we look at Garrus behind us, I mean, this guy, he looks like he's seen some stuff.
Oh yeah, he has.
So like, what is it about these characters that makes them so much different than any other BioWare game, like Dragon Age, like Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, where they also have crew members and teams? What makes the Mass Effect characters so different?
Oh, well, I mean, like I said, I feel like it goes back into the backstory, because like I played Dragon Age, and I loved the characters, but they weren't the same throughout the series. So in this game, like each game is, I think, 40 hours to complete. So at the end of the game, without DLCs, you're with a character for 160 hours, and you build that bond. And like in Dragon Age and other BioWare games, they do have side quests where you help those characters, but they're not nearly as in-depth. They're like 5-minute things, while like in Mass Effect 2, you have to go save Garrus, and that mission is like one of the hardest in the series, and you don't even know it's Garrus until the very last second. So BioWare does a really great job of surprising you nonstop and keeping you on your feet to open up the characters more.
Well, let's talk about the gameplay of the actual game now. you had spoken to me before that it's more of an RPG shooter. It's a very weird blend of two genres. What actually is like the gameplay of Dragon Age Mass Effect like?
I would say it's a third-person shooter, mainly, but it's really cool because it's not just like a shoot-'em-up game. They have different talents. You can become an adept where you can use powers like Singularity or Shockwave and stuff like that they never really had in other games. And for people that don't know, like Singularity, like how would you even explain that?
Space wizard.
Yeah, you're a space wizard pretty much. So you just send people flying. It's also cover-based, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I personally enjoyed that. It gave the game another dimension of playstyle.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that like the ability to choose. I mean, we both played all 3 games. You played it completely different than I ever did, where I was a big fan of the explosions and the sniper rifles and, making the most damage possible, where you played a more strategic game and letting your partners do most of the work, where I just kind of told them to stay huddle in the corner and I'll handle everything. What is, like, in the RPG elements of it, what makes it so cool to do multiple playthroughs? Because this is a game that's built for multiple runs through the game. What makes it so cool for you, being able to go back and play it a little bit differently every time?
Yeah, like, so I played the game, this is gonna be crazy. I've done 5 run-throughs, and every single time, for the most part, there were like 3 that I played exactly the same because I'm a psychopath. But you have so many different options, and there's the morality aspect. So you can either play as Paragon, which is like strictly good, or you can play as Renegade, which is more of the, I wouldn't say evil, but like more of the like in your face.
Anti-hero.
Anti-hero, exactly. Or you can play a mix of both. So I've actually done a few run-throughs of each just to see, because every single different aspect that you choose, whether you want to play more Paragon or you want to play more Renegade, changes the entire story.
So, like, the last thing, we're talking about the story. Why is the story so critical? What are the story moments that you remember the most from your playthroughs that you are iconic to your experience?
There's so many, because like I said, and I can't say it enough, BioWare is so good, so good at writing stories, and they really don't hold back. Like, people say that the 3rd game had the worst ending ever. I personally think it was awesome.
I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I thought it was awesome, especially because you got to choose what ending you wanted to do. But yeah, it's a really cool story, and there's just so much to say. Like, there's just so many awesome parts where I just think about them, like, just get flooded with hundreds of different scenes where they just legit give me chills.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and speaking with us today about Mass Effect. And yes, I do agree with you that Legion was better than Tally and all the others in every single way, shape, or form.
No.
That is it for this week's episode of Press Start. If you want more Press Start, please follow us on our social media at PressStartWP and subscribe right here on YouTube. Thank you to all the cast and crew here at Press Start and WP TV. We will see you next week right here on Press Start.